Aishlyn. Welcome to my collection cut down. What's that? Well, as you can see behind me, I have a lot of DVDs and Blu-rays. In fact, I have over 1,000, which is a lot. And for a number of reasons, I've decided I would like to downsize that collection. Part of this is just that it takes up so much space. I live in a small apartment and I could use that space for other things. But the other part is that when it comes time to watch something, I look at this collection and I just kind of get this decision paralysis, where I can't decide on what to watch and end up watching something on Netflix instead. The thing is, the reason I'm doing this channel rather than just getting rid of the DVDs is that most of these movies I haven't seen for a really long time and I don't know if they're worth keeping. I started collecting DVDs more than 15 years ago, and many of them I haven't watched since then. It should tell me something, that if I haven't seen it in the last 15 years, am I really gonna want to see it in the next 15? But the thing is, I just don't know. So I've decided to watch them all, every single one of them, to see if they're worth keeping or not. My tastes have changed a lot in the last 15 years. Back when I first started collecting, I used to watch a lot of classic films. At the time, I was giving myself a crash course in film history. I would trawl through best of lists and most influential films and pick things to watch and teach myself about how film has evolved. Now I watch mostly action movies and rom-coms, and I don't know if I still want to keep those classics. And I'll be honest, I do tend to buy movies based on actors and actresses that I like. And sometimes I don't like those people anymore, and I don't know if the film holds up without that. And I've changed as much as a person as I have in my tastes. So movies that I found really funny 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, I might find super offensive now or something like that. Which is where this channel comes in. I want a record of what I think of these movies now at this point in my life. I'm hoping that it will be entertaining for other people to watch as well, so we'll see how we go. This channel may evolve as I learn, but for now, this is my plan. I want to do each video in 2 segments. The first will be before I watch the film. I'll talk about why I bought it in the first place, what I remember from acquiring it, why I kept it, and what I remember from the film, because I think it's going to be really interesting to see what sticks with me after all these years. The second part will be after I've seen the film again, and I'll talk a bit about the film itself, whether it is what I remember it, and whether it holds up and is worth keeping in this next phase of my life. At the moment, I'm thinking I'll do 2 videos a week from the collection cut down itself. I may also do some bonus videos, maybe once a week, once a month, depending on how much work it'll be. These videos might include Q&A sessions, reviews of new movies that I see in the cinema, or even reviews of movies from these shelves here, which are the movies that I have bought and not watched yet, which currently aren't part of the collection cut down, but may end up being. If I end up starting a Patreon for this channel, then the bonus videos will almost definitely happen. But if I don't, I may still do them, depending on how I feel. I'm a little worried about how much work this will be, particularly because I don't really know what I'm doing. I suspect it's going to take me quite a few hours to film these videos and edit them, plus there's the time of watching the movies as well. So if circumstances change, then these videos may change or stop as well. But for now, I'm really hoping that I can get all the way through the collection. I'll have to go A through Z in order, because otherwise I know that I'm just going to skip ahead to my favourites, and I won't watch the movies I'm dreading. The fact that there are movies I am dreading in this collection should tell me something, but apparently I'm not that smart. So I think this is going to be a really interesting process for me, because the thing is, I don't just keep movies because I like them. There are a number of reasons that I might keep a DVD that has nothing to do with how I felt about it emotionally. One of the main reasons is that I like collections, complete collections. And these don't necessarily mean all 8 Harry Potter movies, which I do have, but collections that I've sort of made up myself or, you know, are in my head but wouldn't necessarily be in anyone else's. For example, I'll often want the entire filmography of an actor I like. I have almost every single Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, and Dolph Lundgren and Michael Dudikoff aren't far behind. Sometimes the collections aren't that straightforward though. I also collect based on tropes. So for example, I have a lot of movies featuring underground fight clubs, and also ones that are Die Hard rip-offs, like Die Hard on a plane, Die Hard on a train, Die Hard on a nuclear submarine. And for some reason I love them, but I'd like to collect all of them. I also have almost every single Jane Austen adaptation, and that will give you a good idea of the breadth of this collection and the sort of films that I like. Pretty much everything is the answer to that. One of the best examples I can think of in terms of this collection thing I have is Until Death, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. I saw it years ago and I hated it. I think it was actually the first movie of his I saw, which makes it all the more surprising that I'm such a fangirl now, but sometimes that's the way these things go. But that DVD in particular I have bought and then given away about 3 times now, because I want it as part of my collection, but I also just never want to see the movie again. So I'm very torn, and I think that sort of attitude will be quite prevalent in these videos, but we'll see. Collections aren't the only reason that I'll keep a DVD though. So for example, sometimes I do it just because I like a particular scene in it. So one example is To the Limit, starring Anna Nicole Smith. It's a really bad film, but there is one scene towards the end that is so unintentionally hilarious, or maybe intentionally hilarious, but I just don't know if I can give up the movie just because that scene is just hysterical. So that's a problem. Another example is he's just not that into you. Most of the movie I don't remember being particularly invested in it, but there is one scene towards the end, you're my exception, that really gets me. It's really swoony, and so I've kept the movie purely based on that. And because I like film as an art form, I might keep a movie because I like the lighting or the costume design or the cinematography when I didn't actually like the film itself. Another reason I might keep a movie is because it sparked something creative in me. I'm an author, and as many people know, authors need to refill their creative wells quite regularly. And I found the best way to do that is to watch a movie that isn't particularly good or was almost good, because then I start thinking about how I would fix it, and it just gets that ticking over in my brain and gets all those thinky thoughts happening. And so I've kept some of these movies because they've given me ideas, or that I might want to, you know, supercharge my brain if I ever run out of story ideas, which I doubt will happen, but you never know. So as you can see, this isn't going to be an easy project for me. I'm fighting against my own mind and all these what if questions. I keep thinking of questions like, what if this movie disappears off the internet, or what if the DVD goes out of print, or what if I want to watch it and can't find it? And so that's holding me back. I'll say now that I'll probably weigh more heavily in favour of DVDs that were difficult to acquire or are now out of print. So for example, Automatic, starring Olivia Grunia, I think that's how you pronounce it, that's currently selling on Amazon for a used copy at $55 each, and I was looking for this movie for a long time and it was never in any of the stores. I actually ended up finding it in a charity store for $3, which you can imagine I was very excited. But so I have to weigh that and say, well, it was hard to find the first time. If I want to see that again, you know, in a few years, then I don't want to have to pay $55 or even more for the DVD. Not that I would get rid of this particular movie, because I love it and I already know that and I've seen it again recently. I will still review it for the channel, but you know, you get the point. A lot of people ask why not just get it digitally or, you know, watch it on a streaming site. But the thing is, that's so ephemeral. For a long time we've been moving towards online curation of films, but I don't trust it. Because what happens if Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or iTunes or Stan or whatever it is decide they don't want to have that movie up anymore, or if they enter into a dispute with the studios, or if the site itself disappears? What's going to happen to all that content? We've already seen it with things like Filmstruck, which was a huge online library of classic films, and one day that just disappeared and all of those films went with it, and now people struggle to access those older films. And the same thing may happen to any site at any time. I've actually had it happen to me with ebooks, which is the reason it took me so long to move from paperbacks. Because if a site that you bought from closes down or the formats change, you lose access to that. And I know that the same thing can happen. We're already moving away from DVDs and into 4K and 8K and so on and so forth. But at least that's my choice, and I can choose to keep a DVD player around and play these for many years to come. Not to mention the fact that there's more and more of these streaming sites popping up. You just look at this new Disney one. If you want to see a Disney film, you have to have access to that streaming service. And like, if every single studio does that, and then you've got Netflix and you've got Hulu and Amazon Prime, I mean, these things add up really quickly. You can easily have 5 or 10 that you're paying for every month. And, you know, I'd rather just have my own copy. I'm already somewhat experiencing all this angst over trying to find movies that are only 20 years old. I watch a lot of direct-to-DVD movies from the 80s and 90s. And a lot of them are really tough to find these days, particularly if you don't want to pay huge amounts for an out-of-print DVD. But, I mean, they're quite niche these days, and frankly a lot of them are terrible or forgettable, but I still want to see them, and I will probably still love them because that's who I am as a person. But how can I do that when everything is so dependent on people actually putting this stuff out there in the world for me to see? So as I start this project, all of that is in my head. What if I want to see these movies again in 5 or 10 or 15 years? And I have to fight against that because I know that I have too many movies. So I'm going to try and remember that it's not the end of the world if I don't see some of these movies again. I don't necessarily need a massive library. As you can see, this isn't going to be an easy project for me, so I'm glad I'm documenting it. But I hope, if nothing else, it's going to be a fun trip down movie memory lane. We'll see. So for now, goodbye, and happy watching.